What's up, guys? This is Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Fear the Walking Dead, Season 2, Episode 12, Pillar of Salt. Before I get started on this review, I do want to tell a quick little story that will help clarify some things. I was getting ready to watch the episode tonight, and it normally comes on at 9, and I've missed the 9 o'clock episode the past 3 weeks because I've been busy with stuff. So I'm getting ready to watch it, and I'm just like, okay, I'm finally going to watch it on time, get the review done, go to sleep at a decent hour, and then the storm hits. So I have to wait for the 11 o'clock viewing again. And as I'm sitting here waiting for it to start, just doing other stuff while I'm waiting for it, a thought occurred to me because I got a comment on my last review of the last episode. I got a comment from somebody saying, if you don't like the show, why do you even watch it anymore? I started to think about that. I'm like, why am I watching it? Because I've only reviewed 2 other shows that I really didn't like for that season. One of them was Supergirl, and I mean, it's a superhero show. I want it to be good, and it's moving to the CW now, so I'm hoping it'll be good. The other one was Bones, which has had several great seasons, and on the 11th season, it was crap. So I'm just hoping it gets back to being good again. It's one of my favorite shows. But why am I watching Fear the Walking Dead? What is the purpose here? Because it doesn't really connect to The Walking Dead, and even if it does, it would probably be so stupid that I would just hate it. So I feel like I could just easily keep watching The Walking Dead, and that's all it would take. I wouldn't have to watch Fear the Walking Dead at all. So what's the point? And as I'm sitting here waiting, a thought occurred to me, and it hit me why I'm still watching this show. Because it needs to be reviewed. Because it is pretty much the prime example of everything that is wrong with TV and movies nowadays. And a lot of you may hear that and think, oh, he's just criticizing the show again. But hear me out. What is the number one thing that most people complain about when it comes to TV shows and movies nowadays? The lack of originality. This show, it's kind of ironic, because I'm talking about this show, which is a spin-off of another show, which was based off a comic book. But really think about it, this show started off with an original idea. The first season, up until the end of it, I would say, it was it wasn't completely original, but some of it was very original. We've seen the whole, zombie apocalypse thing before. We've seen it where, people are just finding out about the zombies. But most of the time, whether it's The Walking Dead, whether it's World War Z, whether it's The Last of Us, whatever, those are the main zombie ones I know. They show the beginning, and then they skip ahead, and everything's destroyed now. It's officially an apocalypse. This show started off with, it felt like we were actually going to watch as slowly everything fell apart. And then they just decided, you know what, never mind. We're not going to do that. We're just going to go back. We're just going to go be The Walking Dead. We're going to try to do The Walking Dead our own way. And that's why this show needs to be reviewed. I don't necessarily want to watch it, but at the same time, if nobody talks about it, if nobody talks about just how terrible it is that whoever is behind the show, the producer, the director, whoever it was that decided we're going to take it a different direction, we're going to try to be The Walking Dead, that person needs to be criticized. And that's why I'm doing this review, because that needs to be criticized. And this episode, while not necessarily in that realm of thought, the thought of, it's trying to be The Walking Dead, it's still, a lot of the decisions made feel like they would not be poor decisions if the show were not as bad. Some of it is kind of stupid, and I'll talk about the stupid stuff later. But there are a lot of decisions made that I'm thinking this shouldn't be happening this early into the apocalypse. This should not be happening a month and a half, maybe, if that, into the apocalypse. This should be happening several years down the line after society has officially been fallen apart for a year or two. People should not already be deciding this stuff when it's only been like a month out. That doesn't make any sense. It's the fact that they're trying to be The Walking Dead right now, and it's frustrating. And honestly, I tried to defend the show at first with that line of logic of it's not The Walking Dead. But now it is The Walking Dead, so now there's no more defense for it. Now it's just a crappy show. So anyway, I just wanted to get that off my chest because, somebody did ask about it, and I feel like I sort of realized the reason today, and it does need to be addressed that this show had an original idea and then didn't go along with it and totally threw it to the side and said, you know what, we're done being original. And that's a lot of the problem with TV shows and movies nowadays, the lack of originality. So the fact that they so willingly threw away that originality should show you that this show should be criticized. So anyway, done talking about that. On to the show, this episode itself. You have three main parts, technically two and a half, if that. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the Ophelia thing, because, my God, like, you have such an interesting character. You gave her such an interesting start to this episode, and then just didn't touch on it again until the very end. And it had nothing to do with what you showed us in the first part. Why? You know, like, it shows her showing up at this restaurant in a truck, which I still don't know how she got out of the hotel and into a truck. They didn't show us that at all. But anyway, she gets there and she has a flashback to, I guess she was dating this guy before the apocalypse started. She has a flashback to him proposing to her, and then she's like, you know, okay, let's do this. And he's like, I'm going to talk to your father. She's like, no, don't talk to him. He'll cut your hand off. Kind of joking. And she's like, I'll talk to my mother, which, just real quick before I move on, why is it whenever they do these flashbacks, they pick some terrible actors and actresses? Like, the Nick flashback in the first episode, the girl that he was dating was terrible actress. This guy wasn't terrible, but it felt so emotionless. Like, she's sitting there, she's crying because he just proposed to her. She's like, oh my gosh, yes. And he's just sitting there like, okay. Like, almost no emotion on his face. I'm like, dude, emote. You just asked this girl to marry you, and she said yes, and you're just standing there like she just said, let me think about it. You know, like, what is going on? Why can't they pick better actors? Anyway, so they have that scene. It ends on kind of a, you know, I'm going to talk to my mother, and then at the end of the episode, the very last scene they have, it shows her in a truck, in the same truck. And it shows her holding a rosary, and then it shows her talking to her mom, not about the proposal. She just starts talking to her about her father and why she loved him. And that was about it. And then it shows her driving towards the U.S. Maybe I lost focus, but I really did not make the connect. Like, she had that whole flashback in her mind, and she said, now I understand. Hung the rosary on the mirror and started driving into the U.S. I have no clue what the hell's going on. Like, it was so just out there. You know, this should be answering more questions about her. You know, when you have an episode where, you know, like the Nick one, you have an episode about Nick, you have all these flashbacks, it explains stuff about his character. A lot of the stuff I already knew, but it explains stuff about him. This one, it had flashbacks about Ophelia, and I'm left with 10 more questions than were answered, because 0 questions were answered. They left me with like 10 questions. I don't understand. I don't understand what the thought process was here. I don't understand why have this at all in this episode, because it just felt like, oh, we need time. You know, we're missing about 10 minutes of time. I know. Let's add in these Ophelia scenes that we had for a different episode. Let's add them in here to fill up the time. That's what it felt like to me. So anyway, completely lost on that, and I'm disappointed because Ophelia's, you know, before Daniel went crazy, she was my second favorite character. Now that he's gone crazy and is sort of gone now Ophelia's kind of become my favorite character because it feels like their whole family had some interesting backstory to look into. And they're not touching on her at all. They also did not touch again on Travis and Chris, which is the other very interesting story going on that they're just ignoring right now for the bland and boring Nick and Alicia and Maddie storylines. So let's talk about that now. So many frustrating things to get through. Start off with these people escaping from the colony where Nick is at. Just so many things wrong with that. You know, they don't explain why. They don't really explain the motivations going on with these people. You know, why are they... why are they suddenly losing faith in Alejandro? You know, what did he do that caused them to lose faith in him? Like, we haven't really touched on that at all. Like, it seemed like people really still trusted in him, And all of a sudden, we see this guy and his family. I think his name's Francisco. We see them like, oh, we gotta skate now. And even that, like, you'd think that the director would make sure that mistakes wouldn't happen. And yet, you got them all, like, first of all, the guard is asleep. What a guard. You know, A plus on your guard duties. They regroup right before they get to the wall, which now has like 30, 40 more walkers than it did before. And so they're grouped up before they get to the bus that leads into the wall. And he's just like, okay, talking to his little daughter, he's like, okay, we gotta stay calm, we gotta be quiet, okay, we can't let them know that we're leaving. Let's run! We gotta run fast! We gotta freak out! As a director, you would think, you'd say, okay, we need you guys to actually be calm and quiet right now, okay? As you guys are running across this open field, I want you guys to stay really calm as you're going. You know, you don't have to necessarily walk, but don't, like, freak out run as you go, because then you're going to raise a lot of suspicion, right? I mean, we just had a scene where we just talked about that, right? We don't want you guys to, like, freak out run. They freak out run. It wasn't, like, anything crazy, you know, they weren't, like, screaming but they were, like, freaking out as they were going, you know? Like, they broke into a sprint, almost. And, like, it's little minor things, but still, minor things that you would think they would fix as they're watching. You know, they're watching, okay, he just said keep calm. They're not keeping calm. We need to redo that scene. Nobody's even thinking about it, because they're all lazy. So he gets out of there. One of the guys from the drug place or whatever that has all the supplies, apparently they just happen to drive down this road right as they're escaping and just happen to pick up this family, so now they happen to have somebody to interrogate to find out where this colony is. So that's going on. We've got, apparently things at the hotel are all hunky-dory. They're playing like this upbeat song, like everything's going great. I don't even know what to say for some of these scenes. I mean, you got Strand just sort of hanging out at the bar, and then all of a sudden looks up and just goes, like, is that to Tom? Is that to God? Like, what? Okay, random. You've got Alicia with this Hector guy on the beach talking about, you know, she's apparently trying to learn how to surf because all of those walkers that they dumped into the ocean, apparently surfing is something we want to try in the near future, even though those walkers could pop up at any time. Great idea. And then they start talking about Nick a little bit, and I'm just like, why? Like, this all is just exposition that is so forced and dialogue heavy that I don't really feel anything for it. Maddie comes up and starts talking to her about, you know, we got the ice fixed, all of this stuff. They get into the room and they start talking about all of these plans. You know, they're making all of these plans that just sound like it feels like they've been a part of this apocalypse now for several months. Like, oh, we know what we need to do to survive, even though it's only been a month and a half. And so there's a knock on the door. Strand goes up to the door. The crazy mom is there. She stabs him because he stabbed her walker daughter. We need tension. Let's add the mom still being crazy. Nobody happens to be watching her right now as she walks down a hallway with a knife. You would think that would be common knowledge, you know? Like, make sure the mom that's crazy right now, that is blaming this one woman for locking them in a room, even though they all made it out okay, make sure she doesn't go anywhere with a sharp object. Nobody does that. Just let her go. So she stabs Strand, so now they're trying to make sure he's okay. Maddie steps up again and starts, like, making all of these rules like she's the boss, which, coming from her, sounds more like... What's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't sound like a leader. Like, whenever... Watch The Walking Dead, whenever Rick makes some sort of statement like that, whenever he's like, nobody can harm anybody. We can't harm each other or else things won't work out. We have to draw the line somewhere. Whenever he says stuff like that, it's much more forceful. It feels like he's serious. If you cross him, he's going to make you pay. When Maddie says it, it just sounds like Hillary Clinton speaking. And if you're a Hillary supporter, you may hate me for that. I don't care. But really, I mean, there's no force behind it. At the end of it, she asks if everybody understands. Like, is that good? Are we all in agreement here? There's no real oomph behind it, and there's nothing to make me think she should be a leader, even though Strand somehow sees some sort of leadership quality in her, which immediately gets negated later on whenever they're in the drug warehouse. But I'll get to that. But it's sort of cutting back and forth, though, between that stuff going on and then the stuff at the colony with Nick and Luciana and Alejandro and all that stuff. Alejandro's freaking out for some reason. Like, just because this one family left, he's like, nobody's going anywhere. No, nobody can leave, ever. It's like, why? What is that going to help? Just, nobody can leave now? Okay, now everybody's going to freak out even more. Do you not see the problem here? Like, you're just creating even more chaos. Nick is being a little backstabbing little cretin because he thinks he knows better than everybody else. Luciana and him still have some sort of weird thing going on. Like, they start arguing at one point, and then all of a sudden it turns romantic at the end of it. Like, they were just yelling, and all of a sudden Nick says something, and all of a sudden it turns soft. And she kisses him. And I'm just like, what the hell just happened? Like, that didn't make any sense whatsoever. They were arguing, and then now they're kissing, and now they're done talking. I feel like I'm missing something here. I feel like this is not a healthy relationship that they're having right now. And the weird thing is that it feels like they're being very secretive about it, even though at the beginning of the episode it shows the guy knocking on, I guess it was Luciana's house. I guess, I don't know, but she answers, and then Nick just comes up to the door like they weren't hiding anything. Like, oh yeah, he's just staying here with... I'm so confused about all this. Like, are they staying in the same house, or did he just sleep in her house and nobody asked questions? And why is he brushing his teeth in bed and with no toothpaste? Like, why is that a thing in TV and movies? Like, I see so many characters brushing their teeth with no toothpaste. Like, they're just brushing. And this one just happened to be in bed. Why? Direction, please. These are stupid mistakes that shouldn't be happening. So anyway, all that stuff is going on. Maddie, Elena, and Oscar all decide we're going to go to the warehouse place that Nick and them are going to for their supplies, because we got to make all this connect somehow. So they all, for some reason, Elena knows about this place, so they're heading there. Oh yeah, I forgot. The way they make it connect, apparently her nephew? Hector's her nephew, right? It's his brother that is there working in the warehouse with the other drug guys. So that's apparently how she knows about this place. So she goes, she leads them there. They're there getting all the stuff that they need to help Strand. And probably one of the dumbest scenes that I've seen in a very, very long time. Because we need Maddie to find out that Nick is out here somehow. So instead of having Nick sneak out to go to the drug warehouse and her maybe catching a glimpse of him as he's leaving or something along those lines, she hears an argument as the guy is interrogating Francisco and his wife. She hears that going on and for some reason thinks, oh, that may be important. And then starts asking Elena, what are they saying? And as they're whispering about a good, I don't even know how far away, like it looked like it was across the warehouse. And they're whispering at times, and she can hear the entire conversation and translate it for Maddie. Just so she can find out, oh, there's a gringo out there with ratty hair. It must be Nick. Really? There wasn't anything better you could have done for that scene to make Maddie find out that Nick was out there. You had to have it be where he happens to be interrogating Francisco and his family right at the time that Maddie walks in. She just happens to hear that interrogation, and for some reason Luciana can hear and translate the entire thing from across a warehouse. Well, all of these other noises are going on as well. At this point, I kind of shrugged my shoulders and said, you know what? if they don't care, why should I? You know, at that point, I just kind of turned off in my brain and said, you know what? Whatever you're gonna do, just go ahead and do it. I'm gonna let you do you, and then I'll talk about it later. And that's pretty much what happened. You know, at that point, I just lost what little interest I had. I don't even know if I had much interest at that point, but yeah, it was gone at that point, because that is just so stupid and lazy and forced as far as storytelling goes. You could have done so many other things that would have been less stupid, maybe a bit more coincidental, but not much more coincidental. I mean, there's so many coincidences in that one scene, and it's so stupid that Maddie even notices that, and that Luciana or Elena can even hear that. You know, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So then Maddie charges into the interrogation room because she wants to find out about Nick. And the drug dealers, being the violent drug dealers that they are, say, hey, get out of here. Once again, just like with the Nick scene where he stole the candy from him, or the chocolate bar thing, and he has a gun and hits him in the head with the butt of his gun, not even hard enough to knock him out. Yeah, they just don't care. They are ruthless, they are overlords, they control all of these supplies, they have the weaponry, but anytime somebody crosses them, it's like, you know what, I'm going to let you slide. Because that's going to show how ruthless I am. I'm going to let you slide. You just busted into my interrogation with these two people and aren't leaving when I say leave. Just drag her out of here. You know, just let her go. Just get her out. I know I've got a gun that I could probably use on her right now to kill her for even thinking about crossing me. But that would just be too nice of me. I'm going to let her go because that's how mean I am. Doesn't make any sense. What else is new? So anyway, they get dragged out. They head back, give the drugs to Strand. Maddie thinks, oh, Nick is still out there. I'm going to turn on the sign for the hotel because there aren't people out there that are crazy right now that, might come to try to take what's ours. It's just Nick. Nick's the only one that's out there right now. Stupid. She's supposed to be a leader. This is what I was talking about earlier. You know, they're trying so hard to make it seem like, oh, Maddie is a leader. She is willing to do what it takes to lead and stand up and be like, yeah, I'm not going to take any shit today. And then she goes and like freaks out because she hears about this ratty-haired kid that might be Nick. And then it freaks her out enough to where she busts into an interrogation room that might get her killed. And then she heads back to the hotel, turns on the hotel lights at night just to draw a ton of people there, which I already saw in the previews for next week. Like, that's how great of a leader she is. That one tiny little possibility that she heard about Nick is enough to make her freak out enough to put their entire life in jeopardy. Rick Grimes would have been proud. So anyway, it ends on a note where Alicia's pissed off again because Maddie is still like, oh, Nick, and Alicia's like, why am I not enough? There's also a scene between Alicia and Strand where the guy that's taking care of Strand leaves the room, even though he specifically was told to stay in there and keep him alive. He's just like, oh, put some blankets on. That's all I can do for now. And then leaves. So he and Strand and Alicia are alone in the room, and he starts, Alicia for some reason is just like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Because I don't, well, she doesn't say that, but that's pretty much, she says something along the lines of, I'm not going to sugarcoat it because everything might not be alright. And I'm like, it's funny. What's really, really funny to me is as soon as she says that, he had said something about her having a good bedside manner. He starts laughing and says, I take it back. You have a poor bedside manner, or something like that. As soon as she said things might not be alright and he started laughing, I wanted him to just be like, what, you think they're gonna kill me? I'm a main character. They don't kill main characters on this show. I really half expected him to say that because that's just how I feel right now. He gets stabbed, and he's losing a lot of blood. He's lost a lot of blood. Things are looking pretty grim for him. He might not make it. I feel no tension whatsoever. And part of that could be because I kind of want some of these characters to die, and Strand is not necessarily top of my list, but he's in there. But the other reason I feel no tension is because I don't think he's going to die. I think he's going to be perfectly fine. I think they got the med back to him. They're going to give it to him. He's going to work out A-okay. Because this show doesn't have the balls to do it. I guarantee by the end of the season, all of those main characters, Nick, Alicia, Strand, Maddie, Victor, maybe not Chris, because it seems like they've got a good idea going there. Maybe, I don't know. Chris is an iffy for me, and Ophelia. I feel like they're all going to be okay. I don't feel any worry, any tension for them, because the show doesn't have the balls to do it. I guarantee it. So all of this talk, in the last episode it was Alicia talking to Maddie and like, I thought I'd lost you, and she's like, you're not going to lose me. I'm just like, yeah, she's not going to lose you. In this episode, it was Strand talking to Alicia, and Alicia saying that things might not be alright, and he's just like, whatever, do I need to write my will or something like that? I'm just like, no, he's going to be fine. It's like, why are we even talking about this? This just feels like a waste of time at this point. So yeah, that's how things end off there with all of them. With Nick and Luciana, let's see. It was like Nick went out to look at the wall or something and somehow manages, I think, to catch a glimpse of the guys that run the drug trade or whatever. They're looking at him through binoculars on the top of the wall, or looking over the wall. They see him, and I couldn't tell if he saw them or not. It seemed like he did, but they're so far away that he shouldn't have been able to, but then he didn't really react, so I don't really know if he saw them or not. Like, it was so unclear. But yeah, things end off on kind of strange note there. Like, it seems like these people are coming to come get their drugs, and I don't know. Nick was talking to this guy about going to see them, but it looks like they're already coming to see them already, so that may have been completely pointless. And on top of that, he went to see Luciana, and like I said, they're trying to keep it a secret or something like that. Like, oh, you want a drink? And has like a bottle of water or something as he goes into her house. I'm like, what is going on? This is just so confusing. I don't know what they're trying to tell me. Is it trying to say they're trying to keep their little sex life a secret, or what else could it mean? I don't understand. And then the final scene before they show Ophelia in the truck, which was like they come back from the commercial break and then they show Ophelia, and that was the end of the episode. The final thing they showed before that commercial break was they showed the sign for the hotel lit up, and then they showed Travis, and it was like they didn't want us to know it was Travis, even though it was so obvious it was him. And so like they panned around like really slow, like, oh, this is gonna be an epic reveal, guys. This is gonna be an epic reveal. Oh my God, it's Travis! If you didn't see this coming, you're probably an idiot. Why was that such an epic reveal? Like, I'm confused. But anyway, yeah, somehow he just coincidentally happened to be in the right spot at the right time to happen to see that hotel sign light up in the distance, and for some reason thought to himself, hey, I'm going to follow that light, because that's a good idea. No Chris with him, so that's, unless he's off screen, they're trying to trick us into thinking that maybe something bad happened to Chris. But yeah, it looks like he might be alone, so maybe Chris stayed with those guys, or maybe something bad happened with Chris, and maybe Chris is dead, and that I want to see what happens there, because that is an interesting story. I want to see what goes on. Hopefully they don't ruin it. They probably will, though, because they've ruined a lot of other stuff. So anyway, yeah, a lot of problems with this, but once again, my main problem is just how similar it feels to The Walking Dead, and the fact that they're trying so hard to do The Walking Dead and failing at it miserably. So it's not like there are any more excuses for the show. Like I said earlier, I used to make the excuse, it's not The Walking Dead, it's something different. Now it's not. It is officially trying to rip off The Walking Dead and doing it so poorly with so many stupid mistakes, so many coincidental last minute saves, so many coincidental, oh, I just happened to find this one place. You know, the Maddie happening to hear the conversation that Elena translates and tells her, oh, it's about Nick. You know, all of this stuff is so coincidental and stupid that it feels like The Walking Dead, but it doesn't, because The Walking Dead isn't this dumb. You know, like, The Walking Dead has had some dumb moments throughout the 6 seasons that it's been through, but there have been very few. You know, they haven't been... This is all in just one episode, and I've talked about the mistakes in the last few episodes as well. There have been quite a few in just this one part of the season. The Walking Dead didn't have this many in 6 seasons, really. In this one episode, there were more mistakes than there have been in the entirety of The Walking Dead 6 seasons. Don't quote me on that, because there probably have been some dumb mistakes that I missed because I wasn't really watching it, critiquing it. I was watching it for enjoyment. I don't know. I kind of watch this for enjoyment too, like trying to find enjoyment, and that's part of where the critique comes from. Anyway, that's a completely different topic that I'm not going to be getting into. So yeah, long story short, frustrating episode again. Had glimpses of 2 things, Ophelia and the Travis and Curtis storyline. 2 things that I want to know more about, and it's like they're teasing us. You know, like, ooh, this is interesting. Too bad it's only in there for like 2 seconds. Oh, Ophelia's in this episode for 2 scenes that don't really lead anywhere. Have you asking a ton of questions. It's like they're teasing us with the good stuff and then filling their episodes with a ton of crap. And that bothers me to no end. So, those are my thoughts on this episode. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. What do you want to see them do next episode? What do you want to see them do differently? What do you think happened with Travis and Chris? All that good stuff. Let me know down in the comments. We can talk about it and discuss it. Leave a like and subscribe for future Fear the Walking Dead reviews. Only 2 or 3 more weeks, I think. And then it's officially over for 2nd season. Hurrah! I cannot wait. Until then, see you guys in the next review. Peace out.